Hey guys, it's Rachel Castile. Welcome to Mind Map Wednesday here at Typology Corner. Today we're going to be talking about one of the most practical and real life tools of objective personality, and that is the animal stack. A lot of people like to talk about the cognitive functions, but the animals, they actually show you how the brain practically uses those functions in real time. So if you've ever felt burnt out, misunderstood, overstimulated, or totally drained without anything changing on the outside, this just might be the piece that you've been missing. So let's get into it. We're going to talk about what are the animals. There's 4 animals. I'm going to break those down for you, show what it practically looks like. We're going to talk about the animal stack. We have an order that the animals show up for each one of us individually, and kind of what it looks like depending on what position they're in, so you can get an overall picture. So let's start with what are the animals. So there's 4 animals in objective personality. There's play, there's sleep, consume, and blast. They're not personality traits, they're energy strategies. They describe how your brain takes in, uses, and recovers and shares information. So it's when you look at the cognitive function stack, it's like pairings, how they flow together. So I've got a visual here to show you how that comes together, what that looks like. So each animal is made of 2 functions, and that combination determines the energy flow. So let's start with play. Play is 2 extroverted functions. It's fast, reactive. It's an outward energy. So play is using the extroverted observer process and the extroverted decider process together. Think of this. All of us, we all have an introverted observer and extroverted observer. We have an introverted decider and an extroverted decider. So we all have all 4 of these animals in a certain order. It doesn't matter what type we are. The play animal of any type is always the extroverted observer paired with the extroverted decider. Next is sleep. Sleep is 2 introverted functions. It's slow, reflective. It's an inward energy completely. So a completely extroverted animal and then a completely introverted animal here. This is the introverted observer paired with the introverted decider. Next, we have consume. Consume is 1 introverted plus 1 extroverted. It's an inward learning animal from external input. So it's taking in, gathering information for the self, basically, for the introverted decider. And then blast, it is also 1 extroverted and 1 introverted function paired. This is an outward teaching animal from internal structure. So it's taking known information and sharing it with the tribe. So these 2, consume and blast, they are information related animals, and then play and sleep are energy related animals, either reflection or being out in play interaction. That's a very brief overview. We're going to go deeper, but kind of taking this layer by layer, what it shows up like. So yeah, that's what that looks like. And then I will show you another example of what it looks like practically within a type. So I'm using my type as an example, so you can see how this actually shows up within a 4-function cognitive, a 4-function cognitive stack. Yeah, the sentence just sounded weird to me. This is the 4 functions of the ESTP, and so you can see which things are sleep, play, blast, and consume. So to understand this side is extroverted functions, this side is introverted functions. And I may put this in front of me so you can see it a little bit better. So yeah, the first function of the ESTP is SE at the top, then TI, then FE, then NI at the bottom. And yeah, so play is the 2 extroverted functions working together. Sleep over here is the 2 introverted functions working together. Blast is the introverted observer process with the extroverted decider. So FE, NI for my specific type. Consume is the extroverted observer paired with the introverted decider. It's always like that, no matter what your type is. The consume may be down here because the type is not an EP type. It might be an IJ type or, whatever. But yeah, that's what it looks like. So in other words, we all have 4 cognitive functions, and then we have 4 animals. We have an order that animals go in for our type, using different functions depending on the functions of the type. So that's what we're looking at. We're looking at energy, how our energy flows, what these 4 animals are, how they work, and what do they look like whenever they are dominant or whenever they're really weak or low, like last in us. So, all right. So now that you've got that picture, let's jump into defining each of the animals. So let's start with play. Play is life on the move. It's engaging, brainstorming, reacting in real time. You do before you reflect. You bounce off others. You stay in motion. If you're high in play, you're energized by people and momentum, but you might also burn out if you never stop to rest. So yeah, play is doing now, play is acting, play is go. So think of it as like being out with the tribe, completely extroverted process. You are taking information, taking in information is using the extroverted observer to gather, but you're gathering with the tribe. It's not for the self, you're pinging. Think of like ping pong, back and forth, back and forth. It's a play energy between people. It's interaction. You're kind of learning from being with others. So you're not in play if it doesn't involve interaction, basically. In some way, going out and asking somebody something is like getting information for the self from another person. And I'll contrast that. You'll see that consume is taking in information, but it's for the self. So yeah, so think of play. It's the most like extroverted animal of them all. Yeah, so that's what play looks like. It's an energy related animal. It's not about, in other words, like, so yeah, play is the most opposite of introversion. So it's like being fully in the outside world. And yeah, that's what play looks like. Next is sleep. This is our other energy related animal. When I say energy, they're all looking at how we use our energy, but 2 of them are information related, 2 of them are energy related. So play and sleep are the energy ones. Sleep. Now let's get into that. Sleep is your system slowing down. It's reflection, processing, listening inward. Sleep types need time alone to hear themselves think. Without it, they crash hard. Sleep says, wait, what just happened? What do I feel? What do I need to integrate before I move forward? So yeah, sleep is the introverted observer, the introverted decider, reflecting and processing experiences that they've already had. It's shutting out new information and reflecting on the information already gathered, processing it, seeing what the self conclusion has made on it, how they feel about it, organizing it, making sense of what they've already been through, resolving, concluding, coming down to what they personally will stand on. So sleep is that reflection, making sense of your life when you go away from the world. Yeah, high in sleep is prioritizing this. Think of this, like everybody has it. Some people aren't doing it that much. Some people are doing it all the time. You know, before they show up, they need to like reflect and know, yeah, to resolve on something. So yeah, that is the animal sleep. Next is consume. So consume, this is the extroverted gathering process, taking in information for the self, the introverted decider. So consume is private intake, quiet learning. It's gathering, researching, staying curious. You want to fully understand before you act, but that often means you hesitate to speak because you don't feel ready. Consume says, let me watch, let me learn, let me take this in first. So this is a process that doesn't require like extroversion in the sense of like talking, but it is actually an extroverted process because it's taking in something from the outside world. It could be reading a book, it could be watching a movie, observing, people watching. That's a sense of consuming, and you're taking it in for the self, making sense of it. Yeah, but so in a way, it's a dual. I'll call it an ambivert process. In OP, they like to call play and blast extroverted animals and consume and sleep introverted animals. And it makes sense. I see why. It's private intake. It doesn't require interaction in that sense. Or exporting anything. You're not having to take something from the inside and give it away. So it's taking in for the self. And I will expand on that more once I explain blast. Because blast and consume are opposites. Okay, so next is blast. Blast is known information. So the OI, introverted observer, the known patterns, the known facts, and taking that and sharing it with the tribe, which is the extroverted decider. That's the world. Other people, in a sense. Creating something for the tribe. So blast is structured output. It's teaching, explaining, sharing what you figured out. You want to organize your thoughts and offer them clearly. If you're high in blast, you likely feel a responsibility to guide others. Low blast types, they overconsume, second guess, and freeze when it's time to share. Blast says, here's what I know and here's what to do with it. So yeah, as you can see, blast is the opposite of consume. High consume is like, I don't feel ready. I need to take in more information. I need to learn more. Blast is like, I already know this and I'm just going to give it. I know this. I can create something with it. Yeah, that they can guide other people with what they know. Yeah, so that's what that's like a core understanding of all of them. And we're going to keep going from there. So now let's talk about the stack. So now that you know what they all mean, we all have a stack order. And I'm going to show you an example of what that looks like. But yeah, everyone has all 4 animals, but in a specific order. Your first animal, that is your natural rhythm. That's what comes like, you almost could not see it because you do it all the time. It's so like immediate. It's like, it's the savior state. Think of, you have 2 saviors. One that's kind of hard. Whoa, there's like some serious thunder going on outside, like shook the world. But yeah, so you have like 2 savior animals and then 2 demon animals. Those are not as easy. The third one is kind of draining. The fourth one is more of a blind spot. So yeah, think of the first as a natural rhythm, your go-to strategy. You live in it instinctively. Your second is your support. It's still familiar, but takes some effort. The third is tiring. You can do it, but it drains you fast. And then your fourth animal is your blind spot, the one you resist, neglect, or forget. And to show you what that looks like. So an animal stack is basically just a letter code. These are some examples. You could have sleep, consume, blast, play, consume, play, blast, sleep, blast, play, sleep, consume, play, consume, sleep, blast. Yeah, and then just to show you the whole, like when you're adding it all together, as we're layering the pieces of OP together, this is a full type. This is actually my type. But yeah, we've got the modality, double masculine, the type, ESTP, the savior functions, MI jumper, standard. We have SETI, and then the animal stack, consume, play, blast, sleep. So yeah, that's how it shows up. And now let's look at how it plays out. So a high play type, they thrive in movement and interaction, but might struggle to slow down and reflect. A high sleep type, they need solitude and inner processing, but may feel overwhelmed by constant social energy. High consume, low blast type, they gather insight endlessly, but feel unready and unclear when it's time to share. A high blast type and low in consume, they talk a lot, but sometimes miss the nuance because they didn't stop to observe first. So their blasts might not have consume much information related to it. So yeah, they might like not be able to give you a lot of detail on it. If you ask questions, they might not be able to answer the questions, but like they just kind of shared something that they've seen. And yeah, so that's what that looks like. Um Man, it's thundering so bad. Can y'all hear that? I do have like a noise suppression on, but man. um so next, let's look at what happens whenever one is last. So I gave you like what it looks like when they're at the beginning, whenever they're like really strong, and then the most opposite spectrum, so you can kind of see the full picture. All right, so let's look at where animal balance shows up. Your last animal, that's where energy is weakest and where the shame can creep in. This is true. My animal stack is consume, play, blast, sleep. Right now, I'm blasting. Blasting is teaching. It's taking known information and sharing it with the tribe. So, and me making content, I have had issues with blasting. It's easy for me to go like months without blasting. So I'm working on balance myself. And sleep processing is like refining your information down and like knowing what you can then give. So yeah, I have struggled with those two things a lot. And then like I've gotten better at making an outline and then kind of like, oh, this is what I wanted to say. So yeah, in other words, yeah, we use our energy in one way very easily. The other way, it's easy to avoid it. And yeah, so now we're going to look at what that looks like for all the different animals. So play last could look like socializing feels like work. Even short conversations can leave you drained. You replay what you said, you disappear to recover. So it's like, do I really want to socialize right now? It's going to drain me. Way more reflective type. They're more inclined to sleep and review what they've already been through than just being open to the new and just like wherever this goes, the pinging, the laughs, the giggles, the jokes and all that. Like play is kind of like you don't know where this is going to go. You don't know what's going to pop up. It's, you know, like you listening to like a comedian, you know, like he could just out of nowhere start like making fun of the people in the front row. And like that's an example of play. Like it's not just the blasting routine that he already knew he was going to talk about. The play is like that real-time interaction. So yeah, play last. This can be very draining for them. It's not to say that they won't enjoy it whenever they do it, but yeah, it's like play last. It's the thing that gets kind of left out. They've used their energy up on all the other animals. So yeah. Now let's look at sleep last. Sleep last is you keep moving, producing, showing up, but you never pause to ask. Sorry, yeah, my brain was somewhere else. Sorry. I was like sleep. I pictured sleep first as I was reading sleep last. Y'all, thank y'all for your patience. I'm like over here. My blast brain has like it slows down. But so yeah, sleep last. This is actually me. I'm sleep last. You keep moving, producing, showing up, but you never pause to ask, how do I actually feel? You seem successful, but inside you're disconnected and burnt out. Yeah, this is true. Not reflecting on my life, not reflecting on how I'm actually feeling, but like focused on all the other things, on like taking in, or it could be blasting the play. It's like the engagement or whatever the goal was. It's like, yeah, I'm moving, producing, showing up, but never like checking in with the self. That's what that can look like. And then consume last. This is you don't want to wait. You skip the details. You prefer your ideas over outside input. Reading, listening deeply, sitting still, no thanks. But that can cost you the nuance and insight that brings real growth. So yeah, it can be like, I don't want to do the research. I don't like having to take in new information. I'd rather just talk about what I know. I don't really want to read the book. Yeah, Yeah, all that, like, they could be like, you could be talking to them and they're just waiting to respond. They're not really listening to what you're saying. And you have to like really slow them down. Like, no, like, consume what I'm saying. uh, yeah, they can be more on the go, learn from their blast, learn from what they're creating, um, and learn from trial and error, not from actually going learn from somebody else or like, uh, in terms of like consuming research. So yeah, an aversion to like sit and like gather more detail on the subject. Yeah, that's what that can look like. Blast last. Next is y'all, I'm laughing at myself at just some moments in this the it's all staying in the video. It's all staying in the video. Um so now blast last. This is I for a little bit like thought I may have been blast last, but no. I do blast pretty well. But it is that third slot, so it can become a little bit draining, or it's like my brain slows down when blasting. Um so yeah, blast last, you know things but struggle to say them. You second guess, you ramble, stay silent. You've consumed so much but don't feel ready to package it. Uh yeah, that's low blast. You know, but you don't feel prepared to teach. Yeah. Um so it's just bouncing back into consume. Um there's that feeling that I don't know enough. I need to go research. I can tell the holes in my logic. I can tell like the areas that I'm missing information. So like I can't do the video. I need to go research more. I need to go research more. And you could look up and like years went by and you've never shared what you've learned. This is kind of what blast last looks like. Um, Blast is also related to like creating. It's like doing the work, getting started. Think of like a high blaster. They can get started on something. They'll take off. They're the kid entrepreneur who's like doing Girl Scout cookies and selling stuff, and they've already started a business. Versus like the high consume is like researching and learning about business a lot. I'm consume first, so yeah, I'm the person who's like the hobbyist learning about stuff, and now like later in life I'm starting to blast and like create something with all the stuff I've been researching most of my life. Um, yeah, that's an example of that. Trying to give some practical examples from my life, but yeah, I'm consume play. So play is way like more energizing. So like if I'm talking about a topic with somebody and we're like pinging back and forth and like discussing it, that's like way more like uh giving me life, giving me energy. My energy is just like growing in play and in consume. Like I can learn about stuff forever. And if I'm learning with play, play is like learning with the tribe. So it's like I'm like a super learner. I'm always wanting to learn. And then blasting and sleep is what I'm doing now. I'm taking my sleep process, my what I decided I wanted to talk about today, the flow of it all, the outline, and now teaching with it and like sharing my insights, my understandings. And something else I didn't really explore yet, and I can get into it more in another video, but just to think, depending on what your functions are, you have a certain type of blast, you have a certain type of sleep, consume, or play, depending on what the functions are. So I'll show you this again. I'll show you my example. So when you look at my blast is NI and FE. It's my last two functions I'm using to blast. These are my savior functions. These are my demon functions. So blast is not only my third animal, it's using my fourth and third functions to do it, to do the blast. And my blast is NF blast. Somebody else's functions, they might have ST blast. They might have NT blast or SF blast. So yeah, my blast is NF. My sleep is NT. My consume is ST. My play is SF. So that's a certain type of play, you know. My play, the things I like to do when playing is SF stuff, like vibes and fun and real time, like new stuff, like all that. You know, the NFs is like, it's like this conceptual sharing about values and stuff. And like, yeah, like like me talking about personality types is so like NF. I'm like teaching you about people and how we work and like how to love yourself and how to love others and that we all understand each other and all that sort of stuff. So it's like conceptual for people. And then my sleep is like NT. It's very like intellectual and like getting this like the understanding and like the concepts. So yeah. So that's just another aspect. Think of like the variety of all the types and the different types of like how these animals can show up, the types of blasts people like to do, the things that people like to consume. We like to consume different things. What our sleep processing is like. You might have like my inner world's very like analytical. Somebody might have a more emotional inner world because they have FI versus TI. Yeah, it could be a very detailed inner world because it has SI. Things like that. Different types of play. So yeah, that is a picture of diversity, the range of the animals, how our energy flows, what is in flow for us, what is draining. These are all very real things. I guess I've demonstrated the animals by you seeing my animals in this video. So yeah, it's very real. Like this is how we use our functions. It's the practical real life stuff of how energy works based on what our functions are, what order they're in, our animal stack. The animal stack is diverse depending on what the saviors are, what the type is. So yeah, now some reflection. When you understand your last place, what last place looks like, you stop beating yourself up. Yes, this is so true. I'm looking at like, so my sleep, I've learned to process and like rework and rough draft and then rough draft 2 and final draft, because it takes me a while to like, I have to like take my thoughts, put it outside and like refine it to get myself to sleep process to see like what I know and to like get it out. Me being sleep last. An example of my sleep last stuff is like internal processing. I kind of schedule it. I have like my time with God. I have like, I'm in a dark room. I journal. I get in the habit of doing that. And I realize it's very helpful for me because I don't naturally sleep process that much. Also, whenever I'm driving, I can sleep process. Driving puts me in that mode where like I become reflective, but I'm getting to drive around as well all day, which is like stimulating to my savior functions, but allows me to process inwardly. So yeah, for me to not beat myself up anymore, but to work with the way I'm wired and to learn myself, yeah, this isn't about being broken. It's about energy. It's about rhythm. Your mind moves a certain way and you're allowed to honor that, to know your flow, to work with your flow, to learn balance. But, it's not even about like trying to do the demons all the time. It's just knowing how to get balance in your life, find that way that flows for you. So yeah, now let's look at awareness, what awareness gives you. Knowing your stack, it won't fix everything, but it helps you stop fighting yourself. You start to understand, I'm not lazy, I'm not too much, I'm just wired differently. And once you see where you're out of rhythm, you can start making space for balance. Yeah. Think of it like, for example, I can use my life, in saying that I like to take in information and talk about things that I like with people and get their input and all of that. But like my overall life, my full calling, the full like work that is in flow for me is to be able to take that much consumed information and to be able to share it with others, to be able to sit with all the stuff I've consumed and to realize like, hey, Rachel, you don't have to learn anymore. You've actually learned enough. You just haven't like reflected on all that you've learned enough to like create a product with it and to give it to other people. So it's like finding a way to systematically bring in that other animal and to find maybe a resource like Chat GPT helps me process a lot. I can type in all that I want and then refine it and then edit it and change it until I make it into something that I like. So that helps me as a sleep last person to process. I do that with journaling as well, as I mentioned before. It's like finding a way to deal with the pile in the corner, that like the book you're not writing, stuff like that, right? That's an example. Like I'm a speech kind of person. I like talking. I'm not saying I won't write books one day. I've gotten more hope in doing that because I felt hopeless a lot around the idea of writing and presenting and like taking all that I've learned and to share it. So yeah, it's like finding the resources that you need. ChatGPT being a really great example of that for me. That really helped me believe again. In launching the other side of like beginning to use my energy to show up in the world, to export this purpose that I've been carrying, the vision I've had. For me, introverted intuition is like my vision, where I'm going, the big picture stuff in life and how to get on the path of that. I've had to, like, I guess, humble myself and realize I need help and to find the tools that I need to show up, to be consistent, to be present in the ways that I've always wanted to, I've seen for years. Me personally, like this being a part of my journey, like Typology Corner has been a 10-year vision of mine. And me being like in it now is part of this energy balance stuff. Think of like the savior animals as kind of like the easy addiction to be out of balance. They're great. They're amazing. Like they exhilarate you whenever you're using your savior animals. But we're a holistic being, I think of like my husband, we're wired very oppositely, and I've watched his life. Like he's more like a sleep, consume, blast, play kind of person. And I watch him like get that balance in his life too. But it's like, it doesn't negate, the saviors need their space, but then having some way that you're using them all to do all that you're made for. So that's one of my like ending points I think I'm bringing out is like, we're holistic people. We have holistic purposes. Introverts, in spending their time in their inner world, they eventually need to take that and to share it with the world in some way. They need to, we all have these full picture. We have the community, the tribe, the identity. We have like known information and gathering information. So that's the full spectrum of what we are. And that is what the animal stack is all about, seeing what comes natural and what's difficult for you. So next, let's look at some reflections. I'd love to hear in the comments below, which animal do you live in? Which one you can tell is your dominant animal? And then which one do you avoid or forget entirely? And or if you can see like you're learning to embrace. I'd love to hear your journeys around that. If you are already noticing this, and if it in some way like you've been trying to incorporate your weaker animal in your life, I'd love to hear those stories. That shows up very differently for all of us depending on the type. So it'd be really valuable discussion, I believe. So comment below if you can tell your dominant animal. If you can't and you're intrigued and want to know, sorry, I just knocked my keys off my desk. If you're intrigued and want to know more about your type, but you can't really discern it, I'd love to type you. I do OPS typing on my website. I host it on Zoom. And basically, the process is you would record a video answering questions. I would observe just your natural different things that show up as you talk about your life, and I can begin to see your animal stack, see what type you are, see your modalities, the whole picture, what your savior functions are, and record that video, upload it to YouTube as unlisted, and then we meet for our hour session with everything that I observed to narrow it down. So it's really an amazing process. It's changed my life in knowing my OPS type. And I'd love to offer that to you if that's something that you're looking to learn, to really narrow down on, to know your type for sure. Check out the link in the description, typologycorner.com, if you'd like to be typed. And overall, kind of a closing point, the goal isn't to be perfectly balanced. It is just to be honest with your flow, your pace, your design. And when you stop fighting your wiring, you'll start living in flow. That's what it's all about. What does flow look like for me? It's completely different for somebody else. I shouldn't project that on nobody. Need some water. Yeah, man. But yeah, I shouldn't project that on anybody. And you can hear my masculine FE talking right now. It's like, don't do that. That's bad. That hurts people. Like correcting the tribe. But yeah, this is a value of mine. It's very important for us to individually know our flow, know what balance looks like for us to fulfill what we're here on earth to do. Like, what is fulfilling to you might not be fulfilling for the next person. And knowing your type is so intricately related to knowing what flow looks like for you, what balance looks like for you. Yeah, what wholeness, I would say wholeness looks like. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. If you got value out of it, go on and give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate the feedback and knowing that the video made an impact or was made a difference in your life in some way, or open your eyes and to see something new. I love like hearing that. I really do. It encourages me to continue, and just also shows me like what things to talk about in the future, and knowing what intrigued you, what you want to know more about, all of that. So yeah, thumbs up, comment below what you got out of the video. I'd love to hear that. And yeah, and also share this out with anybody who has been struggling in some area of their life. Like they're struggling to slow down and to like see the patterns in their life. Maybe they're sleep last. Maybe they keep living in cycles that they can't see. Maybe they struggle to produce something with what they're passionate about to actually blast, you know? Yeah, all of this really can be eye-opening to them, and maybe give them some hope on what balance looks like, or just even understanding why certain things has been hard. It's really explained in the animal stack. So yeah, guys, that's it for this video. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more content coming very soon. See y'all in the next one.